All right, welcome back, guys, to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon qualifiers. This is the June North American Open, and we are in the middle of a best-of-3 between Stellar Lotus and Cloud9 Vortex. You are muted.
It is a good one so far. Really excited to see what this draft will look like because I think that was such a huge factor in how that last game went.
I definitely agree. I think the draft is what determined the game for sure, which is not always the case, but definitely was in this instance. So we do have Cloud9 Vortex up 1-0. It is a best-of-3. So if they win this one, they will be moving on to the round of 8, which will be casted next weekend. I believe it's next weekend. Yes.
I think you're right, yeah.
And then otherwise, if Stellar Lotus can bring it back, then we'll have a Game 3. And I believe it'll be our first Game 3 out of a best-of-3 tonight, Anna.
Ooh, yeah, I think you're right. I think we've had all 2-0s. Mm-hmm. All very decisive victories, you might say.
Exactly. Well, we will be on the Cursed Hollow for this next game. So one we've seen before, picking up tributes, causing curses, general awesomeness, and looks like... Just want to let them know we're ready for the draft. But we will be starting that very, very soon. A note about this tournament, guys. We have lots of open qualifiers, and the winners of these open qualifiers will get to move on to the Americas Championships. And then from the Americas Championships, 2 people, first and second, will move on to get to play at the big one, the big tournament at BlizzCon.
And a lot of money is on the line, not just for the winners of that, but also for, I mean, I think it's top 32 teams get paid. I mean, a lot of people are, a lot of people are getting paid at just this qualifier and moving forward. So if you've ever wanted to try your hand at competitive heroes, these would be the tournaments to do it. It's going to be really fun. There's a lot on the line. And we're up to some very skilled teams here who have started picking and banning, Gilly.
Well, let's hop over to that then, Anna, and we're going to do so. It looks like, there it is, Stellar Lotus have chosen to ban the Abathur, so great call on that. What will Vortex choose to ban then?
I'm going to collect on all my bets, guys. Anyone who betted against me, I bet a lot of money. I bet $1 million esports dollars on that ban, so glad it paid off. Looks like Cloud9 Vortex is going to ban Kael'thas. Kael'thas, a very, very strong damage dealer, somebody who can easily take someone out of commission with that gravity lapse. That could be really devastating, and they've seen that happen. So banning him out. There are plenty of really good damage dealers. I'm not sure why they would particularly want that one out of the mix, other than the fact that that is a very oft first-picked hero.
Oh yeah, and Kael'thas can really turn a game too. So if they were, this is a map that can often go into the late game, and we've mentioned so many times, once Kael'thas gets to level 16, his damage skyrockets because of that Ignite talent where Flame Strike applies the living bomb. So Stellar Lotus are going to go ahead and say, all right, well, you took out one spellcaster, but we've still got Jaina, and that's a pick that they have often been going with. So I would not be surprised at all to see even a Sylvanas Brightwing if neither of those are picked up by Vortex.
Good call, yeah. Sylvanas is something that Stellar Lotus really likes to use, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that come into play here. Jaina, a super strong, again, often first-picked hero to be taken there. But who do you think Cloud9 Vortex is going to start out with? Because you know who hasn't been banned is Illidan.
It's possible they will. They're going to grab Sylvanas and Tassadar for now. So they're going to deny that Sylvanas from the Stellar Lotus. And I'm wondering now if they're trying to bait out the other ban of Illidan from Stellar Lotus, and then if they don't get that, then they can still get Illidan because they have Tassadar. They still have the ability for shield. And then maybe they could even get an Uther on top of that. There's a lot of choices here, but Stellar Lotus will get 2 more picks before we head into bans. Without a Sylvanas, I do still think they might grab the Brightwing because they've shown a lot of comfort in playing her. And Haas seems to really like her. If they did have to go up against an Illidan later on, they'd also have the polymorph from her. And they'd have a promote to go up against the possible promote from Tassadar. Because Tassadar and Sylvanas together are really going to be beasts in lane.
Yeah, good point. They have really shown that they like Brightwing a lot, and they have a wide open composition here, so they're really taking their time. There is going to be that Brightwing. Do you think it's possible that Stellar Lotus just picks the Illidan for themselves as opposed to being baited out to ban it?
I don't really know. I can't remember if we've seen them play him today. I'm kind of wondering if they'll go a noob here, or if they're feeling like a noob, you know, Kiefer's played him last game and he just got taken out so quickly. He's one of the squishier warriors. So I'm wondering if they're thinking, okay, we're going to have to, if we want to solo tank here, pick up a more beefy warrior. Like, we've seen Kiefer's do work on ETC in the past. He's played Muradin in this, but they're going to go for the Lost Vikings. And that is going to be, if they can pull that off, if they can continue to keep them in lane and get experience while the rest of them move around and take out towers or maybe pick up some takedowns, that would be huge for them.
I think that is a stellar pick, and I was going to say that before I realized it was a pun, but we'll just keep it. But anyways,
Thanks, Shampoo.
hashtag Shampoo. Anyways. But yeah, I love that pick. I think that that is a sign of Stellar Lotus really taking charge back in this draft. But Cloud9 Vortex has shown that they're really smart with drafting. They did go ahead and take the Anu Barak ban, so they're not going to let Stellar Lotus have that. But as you mentioned, they may want a stronger tank anyway. They may be looking for something like a Muradin. But now it's their turn to ban, and they have to be very careful what they open up Cloud9 Vortex to do, because Cloud9 Vortex can deny them things with their own picks as well. What do you think we'll see a ban here, Gilly?
Illidan.
There it is.
There it is. All right, so now we're going to see what they do. I'm wondering if maybe we'll see Zeratul then. Yeah, very quickly too, as well as a Johanna. So they're really, I mean, they've done some serious work with Johanna in the past, aka last game. So I don't see any reason not to get her again. And they've also shown their hand. I mean, the next pick will most likely be a support unless they're going to just really do something crazy with only Tassadar supporting. But Stellar Lotus still needs to pick up a warrior, and then what they'll pick after that is something that is a little more not murky, but murky. Looks like they will go for Vala, so going to go for damage. Still going to go with that single warrior composition. If they're going to do that, I like Muradin better, especially because we've got Team Dwarf over here.
Yeah, I'm really glad they picked up the Vala because I think they really did need the damage to deal with the composition that Cloud9 Vortex is showing. And that's a really strong composition. I don't think we see a huge discrepancy here between these two teams. Although I think you are right that Johanna is a major factor, especially in that last game we saw that. And so I'm still thinking that Cloud9 Vortex team is a little bit scary. We also know that Fan, if he's not playing Illidan, does play a mean Zeratul. And we do have the full-on healing from Malfurion to go with the Tassadar support slash laning slash whatever else they're going to use him for on this map. What's missing a little bit from Cloud9 Vortex is burst damage, I would say. Zeratul, of course, can handle himself, and Sylvanas is great in a fight as well. But Vala and Jaina are no one to sneer at in terms of team fighting.
Yeah, that burst range damage is definitely where the meta is here, but they've got a lot of control, Cloud9 Vortex do. They've got Johanna, which is a fantastic solo warrior. They've also got Malfurion and Tassadar, so they're really going to have a lot of sustainability in this fight with the shields and the heals for Malfurion, especially because Tranquility is quite a long heal for the entire team too, and sometimes you get into very long, sustained fights around these tributes, especially early on when you kind of have heroes coming back from being respawned in that type of thing as well. So what I'm looking at is Cloud9 Vortex do have the possibility of like doing some really cool things, like maybe a Void Prison within Archon and Wailing Arrow right on top of people once they come out of that Void Prison, with roots underneath it as well from Malfurion. And then even Johanna's there. She can condemn people as well. So whereas they may not have something like a Kael'thas or a Jaina like you mentioned, they still at least maybe have the possibility of keeping people in the fight once they've got that Void Prison, and from there can take them down.
That's true. And I did mention last game how Johanna can be built to have quite a bit of damage as well. She can help out on that front. So certainly not counting out this composition, but really excited to see how it's going to be used on this map. Really quick review of this map if you're not too familiar. Again, the battleground mechanic here is curses coming from the Raven Lord. That's why it's called Cursed Hollow. If your team gets cursed, that means that your buildings cannot shoot and your minions have only 1 HP. In order to curse your opponent, what you've got to do is channel 3 tributes, which will randomly spawn throughout the map. There are 6 places that a tribute can spawn, and some of those are more advantageous than others to your team, so you are going to need to be careful about where you choose to engage about those. Looks like we have a little bit of a problem.
Whoops. These players are probably a little bit tired. It's been a long day. We've got Zizix on the wrong support, playing Rhaegar instead of Malfurion. So we're going to remake the game. Or Greymon throwing in GG no re. So I'm going to hop back over to Cam's while we remake this game. GG no re. What? Oh, we have to exit too.
What's this?
This is going to be weird.
All right, well, like you said, we're all human. We all make mistakes, and you know, that's fine. We'll just remake, and we will think even longer. We will keep in even more suspense about these teams, because this is probably one of the coolest matches I think we've seen so far today, although we have seen quite a few.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked a lot about Cloud9 Vortex and the possibility of how they can structure their combos with their abilities, but we can look a little bit at the Stellar Lotus' side as well. So they're going to have Lost Vikings, and they're most likely going to get Longboat Raid, because I don't know about you, but I've never seen Play Again. So they're going to have that. I think that mainly their idea is just that they're going to want to stun someone and burn them down as fast as possible, using Muradin and Lost Vikings to be able to body block as much as possible. But I think in the early game we will see them splitting up, just trying to get ahead in the early game experience and then capitalize on that later by maybe getting the first curse, taking down some structures, and moving on from there.
Definitely. I'm just getting back in this game. I'm going to go ahead and join on you here whenever we're ready. But looking at these compositions, I think it's important to note that Stellar Lotus has Brightwing. And like you mentioned, they're really comfortable using her, and she has a lot of applicability in multiple ways on this map. She can be used, of course, to lane. She can be used as a support, but really important on the Cursed Hollow is her ability to transport all over the map. She can stay in the bottom lane or go grab a tribute and still be able to come in when needed in a team fight almost instantly with her ability to just transport.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Even a really nice thing with her, too, is that after a fight, even if she's only like half mana, she can go back and instantly teleport back in. So that's something that's really amazing. I'm playing Rhaegar, right? No. All right, he is on the correct hero. We should be starting now. And we will once again be going into this battleground of the Cursed Hollow. And there is the countdown, followed by a loading screen.
So the size of this map is interesting to note as well. We've played on Tomb of the Spider Queen, which is the smallest. We've played on Sky Temple, which is the largest. This is perhaps the most standard battleground size, if you will, Cursed Hollow. Takes a while to get from lane to lane, but it's not prohibitive to get from lane to lane. So we'll see team members making decisions based on whether or not they can get somewhere quickly, but not so much being confined to lanes, as leaving them means not being there for a long time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And we are going to load in, and now we've got the correct heroes as well, Anna. So that's good, comforting as well. So we'll go ahead and introduce these teams. Since I spawned on red, I'll go ahead and introduce Cloud9 Vortex. We have Bobby Hankhill playing Tassadar, Taza on Johanna, Zizix playing Malfurion, Fan on Zeratul, and playing Sylvanas will be Syracuse.
And on the side of Stellar Lotus, who will be wearing blue, we have Nightmare on the Lost Vikings, Haas playing Brightwing, Wargreymon on Vala, Toad Jam and Earl on Jaina, and Kiefer's will be played by Muradin.
Interesting. It looks like for now, Nightmare is going to keep all of the Lost Vikings together in one lane, instead of spreading them out and having one in each lane so that the rest of the heroes can move around and try to take out structures, maybe even get some takedowns as well. So, interesting that they're going to do that, but that does mean that they will be not so exposed. I think maybe they were concerned with the fact that Vortex, with the heroes they have, could easily take them out, and then they would be getting behind in lane experience.
Yeah, that is interesting, because I was going to note that it's really important that those Vikings be used to an advantage early on in the game. It's a lot harder to keep them separated later in order to soak experience. Soaking experience is going to be really important to make sure a team gets a lead early on here, and especially in the face of Cloud9 Vortex being more and more powerful as they go on. I'm surprised that they're not splitting up these Vikings.
Yeah, and actually it's a bit of a problem too, because these Vikings cannot contend with 3 full heroes pushing it here, especially with Syracuse as the Sylvanas. So they've already taken down one tower completely. Up on top, it looks like Stellar Lotus is trying to do the same thing, but not having as much success in pushing. They're only just now working on a tower, and they've got shields from Tassadar to contend with. Now this bottom tower from Cloud9 Vortex is already almost down as well, and the gate will be down as well too.
Yeah, it looks like we're sending Brightwing in to help. Haas is going to join the fight. Jaina is on her way down as well. So really deciding that the Vikings really can't stand alone down here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them spreading out to gather experience in lanes so that there can be a little bit more of a gank squad from Stellar Lotus. If not, though, why do you think they're making that decision to not do that standard thing with the Lost Vikings?
I think they were just concerned that it'd be so easy for Vortex to be able to take out the Vikings, push them out of lane, that they'd miss out on experience. But unfortunately, Stellar Lotus came down to deal with the squad that was taking out the tower squad. But they oh man, Murden going down, Totem and Earl getting very low. So they went down to deal with the tower squad, but by that point, Cloud9 Vortex had already rotated. They moved on to the next towers. They're already taking these down at mid as well, and with Murden going down, they couldn't quite as effectively deal with it. So, oh, great Banshees from Syracuse will ensure that they're able to pick up that tower as well. And now I think Stellar Lotus has got to realize what's happening. They're going to start heading up to top, but will they do that, or will they go for the tribute? They are a little bit ahead of experience, but they've both got the same talent tiers.
Wow, it looks like Nightmare is really going to try to take out Taza in order to make space to grab that tribute. Not going to be able to do much to her yet, though. The Vikings are staying on the run, but Kiefer's, ToeJam, and Earl and Haas have joined the fray. Zizix and Fan, and now Syracuse will be here as well. We'll see who can come out on top to zone their opponents away from the tribute and grab this first one.
Oh no, a huge root on Jaina and Murden means that Jaina will go down. They were trying to chase Fan, but lost both Murden and Jaina as a result for it. And now the respawn timers are low, but it still should not be enough to come back in and try to contest this tribute. So the first tribute will go to Cloud9 Vortex, who are near to those level 7 talents as well.
Man, already a talent tier ahead for Cloud9 Vortex. And still Nightmare is not splitting up to soak experience. So they're looking to get experience another way. They could do that by getting kills, they could do that by taking down structures, or they could do that by being in all lanes. And they are currently in all lanes, but what that's meaning is that they aren't utilizing the strength that they could have by splitting up the Vikings. So
yeah,
hopefully they can get a pick on a person or on a structure soon.
Yeah, Zeratul could so easily go and deal with the Vikings separated. Now, Bobby and Kill, who's got that promote, is easily taking out the structures on top. They don't even need the full tower squad to come up here and help him, because he is a beast in lane with that promote. Looking at some of the other talents we have, looks like Vala is going Hungering Arrow build, which is very interesting. The first time we've seen that today. Also, we once again have Envenom from Jaina. It looks like that's kind of the favorite for the Jaina player from Stellar Lotus. And we have Knight takes Pawn again for Johanna, so going to be able to take down those minions and merc camps faster. Finally, we also have the auto attack build coming out from Zeratul, so really focusing on the right clicks, the damage being dealt with those auto attacks.
Yeah, it looks like this tribute up here in the top is favoring Stellar Lotus at the moment. that they are going to be quickly surrounded by their opponent's Cloud9 Vortex, and Fan, now cloaked, is going to come in for the flank from behind, and they are going to be able to zone them out of the way, probably getting a pick, and then being able to fall back and take the tribute.
Keepers got so low but wasn't quite taken out. Unfortunately, Vala, the only way to escape was toward the base of Cloud9 Vortex, and that's never going to work. And so she did go down. Now a good stun, Stormbolt on Syracuse, but because of those really good roots, Haas and ToeJam and Earl weren't really able to capitalize on that. And now they are so low, they're not really going to be able to try to fight too much other than to sit underneath their fort. The second tribute went to Cloud9 Vortex, who are also pushing crazily here in the mid.
They also have hit level 10, so they do have their heroic talents. And what that means is that unless a Stellar Lotus can go ahead and get their level 10 talents before the next tribute spawns, they're going to be in a hard way to steal that third tribute. And if Cloud9 Vortex does manage to grab that next tribute, they are going to curse their opponents, and that's going to help them even more with pushing.
The Tassadar-Sylvanas combination is just insane. One is solo pushing versus a fort, all the way on top. One was solo pushing versus a fort in the mid, and both of them got them half health. Now Syracuse single-handedly taking down this entire fort. They have taken down a fort, and they haven't even gotten a curse yet.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. It looks like we are approaching level 9, though, for Stellar Lotus, so they will be prepared for a team fight when the next tribute spawns. And they do have to make sure that they try as hard as they can to contest that. Because, again, reiterating, the curse could be devastating for them, considering how much damage has already been done to their structures.
Yeah, and so aggressive of a Zeratul from Fan, as they're able to take most of the mercenary camps on the side of Stellar Lotus. So here we go, this tribute is about to spawn. It would normally be a positioning that would favor Vortex, but because Stellar Lotus is already up in this area, it's not too big of a deal. Kiefer's going to start channeling, but they've got, as long as Bobby Hanko is there, he can Psystorm for days. Now ToeJam and Earl able to avoid the roots. Looks like Keepers wasn't quite able to do so, but Sylvanas is already down, and there went the Wailing Arrow as a last cry, a swan song, if you will. ToeJam and Earl very low, taking a ton of damage, will go down as well. That Archon is just dealing so much damage, as now only Brightwing and a couple Vikings and Keepers are left. Oh, the Vikings, one will go down, there goes the other. We weren't able to keep them alive. They're not worth a ton of experience, but it still means they're not there. And now Cloud9 Vortex is going to pick up a curse. And with members down, at least they are back up, but Haas is just about to go down. Wargreymond's going to push Fan back, maybe even able to pick up a kill here with that strafe. Really trying to Fan drop the Void Prison to try to stop it, but Wargreymond was able to just avoid it. They at least secured a kill on Zeratul. So that's a tiny bit of breathing room.
Bobby Hanko was escorting minions up here in the top, but is going to go back looking for health, so no push there. There is a push happening in the bottom, but the Vikings are on the case. So actually a pretty great defense from Stellar Lotus here on this curse. Not getting too much done with this curse is their opponent's Cloud9 Vortex.
Nightmare even pushing Taza away from that bottom fort, but it's losing a lot of health to those Winions there who are going in their own minions, like you mentioned before, spawn with only 1 hit point, so not really able to do too much. But now we've actually seen Stellar Lotus, who have defended, pushing up a little bit into this bottom. They know that their opponents are 13 and they need to catch back up, but Fan is going to come in, going to be able to take out the fort in mid. And so 2 forts now down on the side of Stellar Lotus, none down yet for Cloud9.
And it's worth noting that Cloud9's walls and turrets don't have too much damage on them either, with the exception of down here in the bottom lane, which will now have some siege giants joining Taza as they push against and defend there. Bobby Handkill's going to join the laning as well, and that's going to make a really healthy bottom lane now for Cloud9 Vortex. Stellar Lotus is looking to grab a gank, though, potentially. They have all 5 members coming down toward Taza and Bobby Handkill, but they are going to miss Taza. Will they be able to catch Bobby Handkill? Probably not before he gets behind his wall. But instead, they are going to capitalize on the amount of damage that has been done down here. They're going to push toward that fort. It would be great for them if they could get some of these structures down at this point in the game, start evening out the odds a little bit.
I want to mention something really awesome that Fan was doing that a lot of people might not have realized. He, as Zeratul, was able to just sit up at the top and soak and then as soon as he saw where everyone was on Stellar Lotus, he went ahead and used his cleave and quickly took out some of the minions. So just trying to get every little bit of experience they can to stay away from their opponents, even going in now and taking these siege camp, really knowing exactly where their opponents are and going everywhere where they aren't with that Zero tool in order to try to just keep getting ahead by little advantages. So now they're coming in. There's a boss pushing on top. It will be pushing in toward that keep. Fan is going to help it out by picking up these giants as well. And already a tower and gates are down there. And that has to be defended by Stellar Lotus, which means another free boss for Cloud9.
Yep, they will grab the boss on the bottom, and in the meantime, Bobby Handkill's actually going to join these siege giants and just keep pushing on the bottom lane already. It's going to pave a way for a boss to come down there. As soon as Stellar Lotus is done dealing with the boss in the top, they're going to have to come down and deal with one in the bottom as well.
Yeah, that's a really brilliant move there. Stellar Lotus has picked up level 13 talents. They've even got a spell shield on Vala, trying to mitigate some of that damage, but unfortunately, Cloud9 already almost 16, and this is a good repeat of what we're seeing in the last game, right? Where they just got really ahead in terms of experience. Not quite as ahead as the last game, but still pretty far ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have level 16, as you mentioned, for Cloud9 Vortex, and they're going to make full use of it in this engagement. They've also used chokes very well, as you can see, a lot of burst damage going down in that little choke there. And Malfurion, having used Tranquility quite a bit, we've seen in those small areas for his team to gather underneath and stay very healthy. We do see them very healthy here, as they will take down this keep, and that will mean that catapults will start spawning in the bottom lane.
There's a Void Prison on Toe Jam and a Wargreymon, and now he is right on the other side. A great condemn from Johanna will pull them back in. So still, Vala is still alive, even though Jaina went down. So now she's going to use Strafe, trying to deal as much damage, just zone everyone away. Psionic Storm nearly takes out Wargreymon, who will still get away. But this is a boss on the core. Now, Cloud9 Vortex not feeling super confident. They've used all their heroics except for Tranquility. So they're going to go ahead and back off, not try to end here. They don't want to do a Game of Thrones situation, so they're instead going to go pick up that tribute. They're going to go back. They've got some merc camps they can start to take, and then just once again keep turning the map red, while their opponents are forced to lane to get to 16 and defend their structures.
Yeah, at this point, it's really, like you said, Cloud9 Vortex can do whatever they want on this map, and in doing so, they can take as many battleground objectives as possible to keep the pressure on and give themselves favorable engagements. They do not have to take risks, they do not have to engage when they don't want to, whereas their opponents really do. Their opponents need to be aggressive while they still can. As soon as they reach level 16, which should be right about now, they need to engage and get a pick before their opponents start edging toward level 20, in which case they wouldn't be able to engage as well in teamfights. Looks like they're on the chase as Keepers looks for Johanna, but Johanna can be unstoppable at the press of a button. She gets out of the way with no visible wounds whatsoever.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while all that's going on, we've got the Protoss Brethren pushing the lanes. Bobby Handkill is on bottom, just pushing that lane all the way up to the core, but where will he go? He's going to drop a quick dimensional shift. We'll have another one as he gets low for Prussians. There's going to be a root, thanks to that numbing blast from Toe Jam and Earl. There is Fan, though, and Tassadar will be taken out. Fan is going to wormhole back away. Keeper's on the chase, but probably not going to be able to catch up to him, but this is an advantage for Stellar Lotus in terms of this tribute. They have time. They've got to stop that tribute, though, because it's about to be taken. Oh, it will be taken. Poor Vala got taken out. A great Wailing Arrow from Syracuse. That was a perfect spot for a Wailing Arrow. Every time Cloud9 has forced their opponents into these chokes where they're able to root them, or condemn them, or Wailing Arrow them, and that was exactly what they did there with that great Wailing Arrow. They're trying to re-engage. We haven't seen the longboat raid yet, or a strafe, but poor Vala is down, so we're not going to see that. There goes Muradin as well, and I think that we're not going to see the boat. It's not really going to do much, as we're going to lose this keep to Cloud9 Vortex.
Man, the timing from Cloud9 Vortex has been so on point. First, that condemn from Johanna being able to deny the advantage that you mentioned could have come out of Stellar Lotus as they tried to deny that tribute. She was able to do that. Then they held on to all those abilities that were so much better used in that little choke until just the right moment. So really got to give them a hand for how well they're using all of those abilities at exactly the right time and how much patience they're exercising.
Well, once again, fan has grabbed some Merc, or started at least the Merc camp. So all of the Mercs still on the side of Cloud9 Vortex now. They are level 20, and a tribute is spawning, and a boss is up, Anna. And it's in the lane with the final remaining keep for poor Stellar Lotus. So I think maybe they're going to try to start adding to the tribute, but they're going to leave Tassadar here to try to maybe even pick up ToeJam and Earl using using the Dimensional Shift as a movement speed buff because he has the Dimensional Warp. Wasn't quite enough though to pick up ToeJam and Earl, but now Stellar Lotus is cursed, so they're definitely going to lose that last keep, and now there's a boss pushing as well.
The confidence from Cloud9 Vortex is so obvious. Bobby Handkill using a heroic ability and being that aggressive just to try to take out ToeJam and Earl. And actually now being in lots of danger as the rest of Stellar Lotus is there to try to take him down. But he's just hanging out in their base, feeling very okay with his situation at level 20 and is able to escape. So you can see that Cloud9 Vortex is not scared to be aggressive at this point in the game.
Man, when you have Prescience and Dimensional Warp, he even picked up Deep Shift too. Good luck taking out Tassadar. It is so difficult. They're going to try again. Some body blocks from Nightmare, but he's still just hanging out in base with the shield, hanging out, helping the Golem a little bit by himself. The rest of the team is engaging in, and a good ice block from Malfurion he's actually bolted the storm away. So now he's tranquilitying, but not really healing anybody as the rest of the team got a little bit split. So Stellar Lotus able to pick up a kill on Sylvanas. Unfortunately, while that was going on, everybody else was attacking the core. So that was small victories, I suppose, as the big victory will go to Cloud9.
Yeah, the coordination out of Cloud9 and the finesse with which they timed their abilities in this game was so apparent. I just have to hand it to them. Very well executed. And I guess what I would say is that the Lost Vikings were a great pickup. I think that Stellar Lotus showed some awesome strategy in the draft, but maybe the Lost Vikings could have been used a little bit better in the early game to give them more of an advantage so they wouldn't have been so on the back foot in the late game.
Well, unfortunately, that will be the end of Stellar Lotus's run, as it will be Cloud9 Vortex who will be moving on. Looking at the bracket, that will be it for us for today's games. Looks like Cloud9 Vortex will go on to play versus the winner of Complexity and Bowberries, and then of course we have Zevron and Cloud9 Maelstrom in that round of 8 as well. Tomorrow, guys, we will be back on the same channel with more games. So it's going to be another long day of casting, another long day of some great games as well. And we hope that you guys will join us for that. We hope you had fun with us today. If you have any want of knowing information about Heroes of the Storm, then you can check out Heroes of the Storm Twitter at BlizzHeroes, as well as heroesofthestorm.com. Anna, where can people find you?
You can find me personally at AnnaProsser on Twitter. You can also find links to everything else I do, all the other channels, all the other social media on my website, AnnaProsser.com. I also want to give a shout out to Misscliks. That's the channel that we are on. This is a community dedicated to uplifting and providing support for female role models in geek and gaming culture. And this is where Gilly and I stream our weekly talk show, Eye on the Storm, for which we are actually having a really cool event coming up, our all-night party, or as it has become known, the Brawl Night Party, where we'll have some awesome show matches and things available for you. So you can actually check out the Misscliks Twitter as well as our Twitters for more information about that. It's going to be on June 25th, so not this week as E3 is coming up, but the week after that. And we would love it if you would come hang out and tune in on every Thursday at 7:15 p.m., including this coming Thursday, to talk about Heroes, the Heroes community, game strategy, and to meet some pros, developers, and community members there as well. What about you, Gilly?
Well, you guys can find me at Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Gillyweed SC2, like StarCraft 2. I stream Heroes of the Storm every weekday at 3 p.m. Central Time. We have a lot of fun on there. A lot of craziness happens in the stream. And then we also cast some other things, Heroes Hype Amateur Series, things like that. So the best way to find us is definitely on our Twitters, our personal Twitters, especially because we do so many different things, and we always make sure to let you know where we're going to be at. But I believe that's it, guys. We'll be back tomorrow at the same start time, which is noon Pacific.
Yes, noon Pacific.
Okay.
And actually, guys, a great way to be notified about when we go live tomorrow is to click that follow button on Misscliks, because we will be streaming on this same channel. It'll also notify you when we go live for Eye on the Storm. So total win-win. I very much suggest clicking that button.
A great suggestion indeed. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We hope you had fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.